Hi, I'm Liesl, and I'm here with the County Library doing some more of our virtual summer reading kickoff today. I hope you've been enjoying all of the activities and stories that you've heard today. I'm going to wrap up my session with some glass etching crafts. Now, I know that most of you will not have these things at home, but you can get them fairly readily at any craft store or online, oddly enough. So what you'll need will be a mirror of some sort or a glass of any kind. I found these at a local saving location, perhaps known by a name with $1 in it. And they were very inexpensive and very fun, and I felt they met our purpose. You'll also need some window cleaner, a rag. You'll need some painter's tape or any other kind of tape that will have a firm fit to a glass surface. You'll need scissors of any kind. You can have design scissors that cut in a fancy way or just your basic scissors. You will need gloves because we're going to be working with this, which is glass etching cream, which is essentially an acid, and it will hurt you. So you'll want to make sure you wear your gloves, and if you do have eye protection in case it splurts, then that's a good recommendation as well. You'll also need something to put the glass etching cream onto the glass or mirror. I use a paintbrush with a very small tip, just because this is real easy to hold and manipulate and get into small crevices. If you have the fortune to have a small, some sort of stick or flat object that you can make sure things are pressed down so you don't have any bubbles in your creation, that is also good so that the etching fluid does not get up underneath what you're taping off. And then of course you'll need some sort of attaching material, so a vinyl or an etching tape, something like that to do it, or you can even use a stencil. And so my examples today, I've got a couple of different things that I'll be showing you so you can see the results with different things. So the first thing you need to do is you need to clean your surface. And this is very important because the only way the etching fluid will be super effective is if it's able to actually reach the glass as opposed to your fingerprint or all the dust that's gathered on it while you've been sheltering at home. Now, one thing you might want to notice is that I have this lovely blue piece of tape here. I put this here because I forgot to check where the mirror hooks up on one of my examples. And so I found that this is important moving forward if I have something that is not symmetrical throughout the mirror or the glass. Now this technique can also be used on actual glasses. So I brought this glass of an example of one that I've done. You can do your family emblem or your shield, shield of armor, your coat of arms, that's the word. Yes, I'm like looking for help. The coat of arms, you can do almost anything on it. You can do freehand designs with the glass etching cream, but it's better if you have something formatted or something planned out. So, first thing, what I did was I took my fun scissors and I used a piece of scrap paper and made a design that I thought would work well. So then I held it up here and I decided, that's maybe not quite big enough for this space. So then I cut out, holding the smaller one onto the tape, and so I've got a larger one. Now I'll go ahead and replicate that right now so that we can see how that works. So as you can see, I'm just sort of following it around. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is more of a design that will be filled in, and it just needs to look fun and pretty and how you want it. All right, so now I've got my image on the vinyl. It's compared to the last one I did. Oh, it's still a little smaller. but it is bigger than the yellow one, but not by a lot. So remember your size and reference points. Now that I've cleaned this off, I'll go ahead and remove this if I can. This is the trickiest part of any project, or opening your pills when you've got those little packs on the back. Those are challenging too. All right, really, this is going to work. Okay, so you do this very bravely and you take your time and you put it down and it will be affixed. Next thing you'll want to do, so I don't bore you with everything that I'm doing, is you will want to mask off all of the areas you do not want to have any of the etching show. So just to protect the sides of this, I'll start showing you what I did, and then we'll move to, look, it's already taped completely. I know you've seen those before on TV, and I'm going to do it now. So I'm just cutting this piece of tape up and forming it along the edges so that the etching cream does not take out the frame. You can also do this on glass that's not framed, which makes it a lot easier. So feel free to do that. You do want to have that firmly affixed. So just taping it on the back won't work because then all the etching cream will get under it. All right, so let's move to phase 2. All right, now in phase 2, I did something a little different. I did a freehand crown with my scissors. So I took the crown and I shaped it, and then I had to go in with an X-Acto knife to make the space, the empty space where the etching cream will go. And what's really fun is I think this will turn out really nicely so that every time you look at it, there'll be a crown. So that's another fun thing you can do. So, all right, once again, making sure that's clear. I'm going to take my smoothing device, even though I've already checked this, just to make sure. Now the problem with the really intricate design, although this is not as intricate as you can be, is that I've got lots of little pieces of tape trying to block access so that the etching cream does not get in there. It's very important that you block that off. You also want to make sure you've got as big of a margin as possible so that the etching cream can slide smoothly and go along. All right, the next thing, shake this forever. Handily, I shook it forever a while ago, and then I continue. So it's now making a liquid sound. Sometimes it'll sound very firm. It'll sound hard. And you just have to keep shaking it until you get a liquidy sound. Still liquidy? Okay. All right, I can move most of my objects out of the way so I look tidy. All right, now before I open this, I'm going to go ahead and put on my gloves. I am wearing glasses, so that saves my eyes in case there's any splatter. And I'm wearing a shirt that, if worse came to worse, I think I would survive if it got damaged. It's not going to get damaged. Trust me, we don't use that much of this stuff. All right, so you open it on up, and it'll bubble. What I generally do, because I've been shaking it so furiously, I just use what's on the lid. Makes it a lot easier to work. So you just dab your brush in, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill in where I've outlined the crown. Now there are different philosophies on how best to use the etching cream. Some people say use it and keep moving it, move it all the time, move it, move it, move it. So it's constantly moving like I'm showing here. There are other trains of thought that say just put it on thickly and leave it for a while. There are different ways you can do that. I find that both methods work just fine. It's not a problem. But when I'm actually working on glasses like that, we found that the swirling method that I'm doing now is probably most effective, and it is the best for moving the etching cream around because it's keeping it mobile, and the little bit of grit that's in the etching cream actually has a chance to work on the mirror, the glass, better. So you do this for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, which I've probably done now, not sure. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the sand, the grit on it. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. Just listen closely. You know how they list on the baking show, they listen to hear the cakes sing to make sure they're done? You can just listen for the grit. It's very fun. All right. So I think we've got that grit moving around quite a bit. So now, what we are going to do, you at home will have a sink available to you. I do not. So I improvise. Bucket, water, we're set. So at this point you can go ahead and close your cream so it doesn't have any additional drying out moments. Go ahead and just put that in the sink because you're going to be wanting to rinse it off as well. As you notice, I'm keeping my gloves on, and you can reuse your gloves as well. You don't have to always take them off right away. So you want to flood it. You can see hold it to the camera more. I'm flooding it and continuing to sort of smooth it out. The diluted stuff that's hitting the frame is not going to damage the frame. Then what I'll be doing is using a sponge or a rag to go ahead and get that off. You want to also make sure you get the corners. There's a little corner right there that's having a bit of a struggle. And I'm going to dump this one in here. This is one that I prepped with a stencil that I left a little bit of the etching cream on just to see how that would work. So you can almost see it's like fogging up, and that's what you're going to see is the etching. Are you guys ready for the reveal? Let's have a look. Yes, I'm taking my gloves off now because it's safe to do so. So it's always fun to see how it goes, and of course you want to make sure that you practice this a lot if you plan to do this on something expensive. So if you plan to do it on your front door, practice on something less so front door-y at the beginning. All right, it's looking really good, very strong. Just need to get the rest. And so because this was such a small thing and I wanted it up close to the top, I didn't put a lot of margin on mine. But if you do a large margin, then that's better. So let's clean this up just a smidge. We can have a look. We'll also see where I didn't tape very well. So here you go. You look, you see a crown. You can almost see the couple of little spots where the tape didn't resist the acid. And let's do one more reveal just so you can see. Now, when you're using the stencils, you don't want to use the paper stencils. You want to use the ones that are attach to the surface. These happen to be reusable. So if all goes well, I'll be able to take this home, flip it onto something, and reuse it. And so here is this one. Sadly, this is how it will hang. So I'm going to have to figure out how to hang it from here. But you can see that you can do lots of little designs. You can use stencils, you can do a hand draw, And then, of course, the very thing I was showing you before, the big reveal. Now we've got a mysterious mirror to hang on the wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Again, the book we read was Mirror, Mirror by Gregory Maguire. And we have been celebrating summer reading kickoff all day today. We encourage everybody to go and check out our website, thecountylibrary.org/summer. Get your summer reading record, which is more than just reading, it's activities too. So download it, print it out, and start having fun this summer. Don't forget, there's a prize at the end. So make sure you visit your local branch library. Even though we're only doing curbside right now, we will still have prizes for you. Have a good evening.